Bless you. This is Daniel Moore, president of WME Ministries. It's been over 10 years since over 300,000 Haitians were killed during an earthquake. And just recently we saw how another earthquake has devastated the people of Haiti. The unrest in Haiti, the pain that Haiti has gone through over the years. And Haiti has a long list of problems that goes all the way back into 1877. We see the political turmoil with the president being assassinated. And now, after years of hurt from the previous earthquake, where Haiti didn't even rebuild or didn't finish rebuilding from the first earthquake. And now we see a second earthquake. And then we had the flash floods, the water hit Haiti recently. Haiti has gone through a lot of pain, and it's on the news. We see what's going on, and we see the hurt that the Haitian people are feeling, and the hurt that the Haitian people are going through. And it reminds me of, and we could debate on what exactly is wrong in Haiti, as far as politically, as far as infrastructure, as far as the different calamities that have hit the nation of Haiti. And if we go back in history, we can find several things that have gone wrong in Haiti, several things that Haiti has done that has hurt their people. But I think we have to look deeper into what's going on. In the 9th chapter of the book of John, the disciples are having an interesting conversation, and they bring it to Jesus. There's a man who's been blind from birth. And the disciples wanted to know, who did sin? Did this man sin, or did his parents sin, that this man was born blind? That was the debate at the time, because there was basically two beliefs. There was a belief that because the parents committed a sin, that child was plagued with that infirmity because of something his parents did. And then there was the other group of people who believed that because this young man did something or was going to do something in his life, he was plagued with this infirmity. And Jesus, very interestingly, doesn't look at the cause, but he looks at the solution. See, God doesn't look at your, God is not just debating what caused you to be in that situation. We look at the hurt that Haiti has, and here at WME, we're not here to debate why Haiti has gone through what it's gone through. We're here to minister healing to the hurt. Jesus chose that route. It's time for me to minister to the hurt. This man was born blind so that the works of God may be manifest. In other words, I'm about to do something special. In other words, I'm about to bring a change in this man's life. Jesus didn't spend time debating, and what good was going to come out of this debate? What benefit was going to come out of them finding out who sinned? What benefit was it going to be to this man or to society to debate what was going on? Jesus chose to bring healing to this man. And in the book of John, chapter 9, we see how Jesus ministered healing to this man. And that's our call here at WME Ministries, to minister healing to the hurt, to feed the hungry, to minister to those who are going through different situations. And maybe you today are watching and you feel a hurt in your life. And you've debated, why am I going through what I'm going through? Why am I facing what I'm facing? Why did this happen to me? And I'm here to tell you, it's not time to debate the issue, but it's time to bring healing to your life. And Jesus is here to minister to your hurt, to bring healing to your life. Afghanistan. We look at what's going on right now in Afghanistan, and we see the images that have just impacted us. In it's been over 20 years and 4 presidents since the U.S. has been in Afghanistan, along with allied forces. And recently we saw the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan. And we see the pictures that of men clinging to planes, people holding on. We heard a story of a lady who had her child, and she threw her child over the window across from barbed wire so it could reach a soldier. It reached a British soldier. This woman had reached a point of being so desperate that she was willing to throw her child over so that her child could reach some kind of safety, a better way of living, a better life. And here in America, God has blessed us so much. If you're watching from Europe, in Europe, God has blessed us. And we, in our mind, we can't fathom that kind of response. We can't imagine that kind of horror. We can't imagine that kind of hurting. In the book of Kings, First Kings chapter 17, we see how Elijah prophesied and told the people, hard times are coming. Hunger is coming. We see that we are clearly in the last days. We're looking at images of hospitals because of the corona, the Delta now variant that has filled our hospitals. And now we have a new variant that's coming through. And we don't know how people are going to react to these different variants of the mutation of the coronavirus. We don't know what's going to happen with what's going on. Well, Elijah prophesied, and he said, tough times are going to come. Times of hunger and times of pain. And at that time, the people couldn't see what was going to happen. The people couldn't see that hunger was coming. The people couldn't see that pain was coming. And can you imagine this woman, as the Taliban is coming forward to reoccupy that land in Afghanistan? The horror that this woman felt, to throw her child over, to somehow believe that God could give him a better life or save him or bring him to a saner place, to a place where he could find help. And that's what WME has done for over 64 years. We've seen the hungry in Haiti. We've seen the hungry in the Philippines. We've seen the people in India. For over 64 years, we've been faithful to the call of God to help and to minister to those who are in need. And even though in our American mindset, we can't imagine that kind of horror, but we've seen it, and we know that people are going through hard times, to tough times. But God is here to minister to that need, to minister to that person. And here at WME, we have been faithful to that call. Help us. Help us feed the hungry. Help us minister to those who are lost without Christ. And maybe you're not hungry today. Maybe you're not having financial trouble. But maybe you're having spiritual trouble. Maybe you're going through depression. Maybe you're going through tough times today. Maybe you're going through your own horror today. God is here. And the same God that saw Elijah through this pain is the same God who can see you through this pain, who can see you through this difficulty. I want to say a prayer with you today, and I want you to unite with us in prayer. Father God, I just pray for those who are watching right now, Father. And Lord, I pray that whatever they're going through, Father, that you would minister to them, Lord. That you would raise them up, Father, and that you would bless them today in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you for watching. We're going to be bringing you these current affair programs. We're going to be sharing with you what's going on in the news. And if you like what you're seeing, if you like God's perspective behind what's going on, please like and share. Help us to spread the news of what's going on. Help us to share with others about God's perspective behind what's going on. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.
World missionary evangelism began when John E. Douglas Sr. accepted the challenge of caring for 6 orphan children in India. From this act of love sprang a work that has grown to include children's homes, schools, leper clinics, vocational and agricultural education, disaster relief, feeding programs, drilling water wells, and building churches. And at the heart of all of WME's work has been living out the Great Commission to take the news of salvation through Jesus to everyone we meet. World Missionary Evangelism's work has grown from the initial effort to save 6 children in India to establishing mission projects across the globe. Our address is WME, Post Office Box 660800. That's 660800, Dallas, Texas 75266.